Hello, everyone. Um, so this video is going to cover Game 6 of the Canton tournament I participated in last weekend um, in upstate New York. And this is Game 6 of 14, and I'm playing David Spargo for the first time. Never played David before, unless maybe we've played online. I don't know about that. Um, But David was the lowest rated player coming into this event at around 1300, but I knew he was much stronger than that he was just on an upswing, and was looking forward to playing him. So let's just jump into it. David opens vertically with Eanling, and yeah, already he started with the bingo. Sorry, I need to be careful. I have some wine over here. Don't want to spill any. But yeah, Eanling is the starting play from David, and I'm already down a bingo. So my rack here was EOOPRWX. And here I had a really tough time of things. I think I took like almost 5 minutes on this turn because I couldn't for the life of me remember properly what the hooks of Eanling were. And I thought very quickly when he played Eanling that it took a W and a Y. So Weenling and Yeenling. But I wasn't 100% sure. So I was worried that I would just lose my turn if I played Weenling, but after a while I was like, there's no way. Like this has to be right. It has to be a word, Weenling. But then I was like, oh wait, is Whooper a word? And if he challenges Whooper and Weenling, I won't know which one is invalid because it'll challenge both. Um, and I decided that Whooper was just a Pokemon, which is correct. It's not a word at all. But yeah, I could have just played Woo. I saw Wooer and it didn't seem to uh, do anything really. It looks like it sets up an X, but it doesn't. But that might be better than what I did. I played Prow. But I burned 5 minutes, a really long time on this turn. And for what really? I mean, finally talking myself into a word that I should know immediately is valid. Um, but yeah, I could just play Woo and leave it for later. But I had to go for it. I had to like make sure that I was gonna play Weenling for once this turn. But yeah, playing Wu was fine. I didn't even see that for some reason. I was too. I think I was too. Well, I was obviously tunneling. Tunneling is a big problem when you're unsure of words. It does tend to happen that you're just really overly focused on one position or on one word in the position, and you fail to generate the right plays. I'm gonna sneeze. Mm. My bad. Haven't sneezed in a while though on one of these videos, so it's pretty good. But I probably should have just played Wooer. Even though it doesn't actually set up the X, because it does set up like scoring for it. I could draw U for XU, maybe. I already have Pox for 28. I have some chances of scoring well with the X. But everything's really, really close. Um, I'll just say questionable here. Yeah, Prow seems to just be okay. Keeps everything relatively stable. And David held for a while and then let it go, let my word weanling go, and it's like okay. And I'm pretty at this point I was pretty sure it was a word. And then he lays down a blank o. I can't do this on Quackle. R no OWANS. So a blank OWANS. So in my head, this is what he's playing. Add Jawans and Weelings. I'm like, holy shit, that's really nice. That's a really great find. And I'm not gonna challenge. I'm pretty sure Weanling is a word now. But instead, he actually circled on the blank slips that we use at tournaments. Just to designate the blank, we have a little slip. I think I've mentioned this before, and it has the alphabet twice, and you get to circle what you're making your blank, so there's no confusion. You have to do that before you make your play or before you hit the clock. And David actually played arowanas here, and I was like, okay, well, I know that's not a word. I think he might be thinking of arowanas, or maybe he just messed up. Maybe he knows Ajowans and just circled the wrong letter, but that came off the board. And again, a phony. Phony has been played. Can you guys believe it? How many phonies have been happening in this tournament? Anywho, I get my turn. I get a free turn, and I know that he has Adjuans, and I know he has Arowanas, and I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna try and block anything. Sometimes in positions when you know your opponent's full rack, it's better to not even consider everything they might have, especially if your opponent isn't like a top player. Um, it might just be a complete waste of time. You might see something that they don't see, etc., etc. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna blow my nose. This time I'm gonna turn the sound off. Okay. Yeah, I've been going through a lot of old games, and I think there's a lot of dust on my score sheets, so it's really getting into my nasal system here, olfactory, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, yeah, what was I saying? It's sometimes really not worth it to try and block um, the plays that you see your opponent has, because they could have just made those plays the turn before and not lost their turn, and they might just be might not have seen anything, or they might just not even look or not be sure of anything anymore. Um, there are many reasons that like it's a waste of time for you to even try to block things. And I did see that he had ways to bingo in 2 spots anyway, and I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try and calculate if I should block something or other. Um, and my rack was this here, and since I knew his full rack, I could play Oxter in this position. Let's look at this a little bit. Yeah, those plays are okay, but I think this sort of play is very good because he has a blank OWANS, and he just doesn't have a good play through this O. So it's nice to be aggressive and open this area of the board up and score some points. Um, and yeah, now we know his rack, and let's see what his options are. Adjuans, as I saw. Oh, I need to update this. Oops. Now it's going to show you arowanas. There you go. So yeah, I did see both of his options, and I did not see a swoon actually. A swoon would have been a really nice play. But yeah, instead David plays it whoa, which is pretty good. AANS blank is actually really really good, even though you have both A's. That's really not a huge deal. And now he's definitely threatening some triple triples that he might have drawn into. So I obviously have to address the spot that I've opened, which was my intention, but I did draw a bit awkwardly. Finally found my play of Oakham. This is a tougher 5 for me to see, but I ended up finally seeing it and playing it probably after like 45 seconds or something. I'm acting like it took an eternity, but these are the sorts of plays you need to see immediately. Um, anyways, um, now I think what's cool is that now David is unsure of weanlings, I think. And I'm not, because I did challenge his play, so he might have thought that Arowans was a word and weanlings was not, or vice versa, or neither, or whatever. But yeah, abasing is his play. Oh, that's too bad he had cannabis. That would have been a nice play. But yeah, he plays abasing for 75. Um, so he gets his bingo down. Second bingo in 4 turns. And one of those turns was a lost turn, so still going pretty well for him. This is my rack here, and I just miss everything, I think. Yeah, I just missed hefting. Definitely needed to see that. The play I made fair, although it seems to be close in valuation, is not even close to as good as hefting, I think. I also have feint here. Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see feint and I didn't see hefting. And I was also kind of tilted here, being down 74 points, despite my opponent losing a turn. Um, Sometimes in these positions, it's very hard to just stay focused and be like, okay, I can obviously still win this game. I knew that, but I think it was sort of getting to me that I was already in such a bad position. And actually, a lot of the games I played this tournament, I was in very bad positions from the get go. So you're going to see a few more games like that. Um, and yeah, I'm still not going to spoil the result though. Anyways, hefting. I think hefting has to be right. The idea with Fez that it sort of pries this right side of the board open. The problem is it does interfere with this two row that I would maybe like to use. It's a decent bingo lane. It's going to score in the 70s at the very least if I bingo there. And the idea is TINN isn't as bad as it normally is because this G here, I can draw into a decent amount of things ending in ING, but I really just don't think this is right. Even if Quackle thinks this is the best play, it really does leave me vulnerable for bad draws in a way that Hefting doesn't. Um, and obviously, leaving Weanlings open is also a benefit. So it's not like this play is terrible. I mean, I just don't think it's right. I think I should have played Hefting. Um, because even though I'm down 74, I just don't want to put myself in the position of having a really difficult like rack full of 1 point tiles next turn and not have anything to do with them, or like double duplicates or something. Um, and I do obviously need some luck to uh, to get back in this a lot of the time. Anyways, Fett comes down, and this allows David to make a really nice play that he spots very quickly of Dalit, and this just goes to show like David is the real deal. He's really getting good at this game, and he just needs to solidify his knowledge of the words of I guess basic important words to start things off, and he'll really keep getting better and better. So yeah, Dalit, really nice play, and I wanted to say nice play, but again, I was like sort of upset at the way the game was going. And I also didn't want to give him any like psychological boost by saying nice play. Um, Sort of weird thing, but I was planning on saying that was really nice after the game. I just didn't want to make myself like seem seem weak or something. Like obviously, I expect many players to find this, but somebody that's rated 1300 does need to be told like that they're making really nice plays. And I did make sure to tell them after the game. Um, Anyways, I drew a G, which did not help me. So I played Dong, setting up another ING lane, but only scoring 18 points. This seems to be the right idea. David, after a while, plays Iron, um, and he does block my better spot for rooting, which is a really stupid and ugly word, but it's a word nonetheless. So Ian did work out, and I was expecting him to be able to then play down the O column, which would put him like something like 50 ahead. But instead, he plays Frill through the 3R, and he's still up 35 points. And he gives me the O1 spot, which I use to the fullest with Drove, and now I'm actually ahead 6 points. Uh, but it's his turn, and um, he plays Quay here, but where does he play Quay? Just want to be sure that. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, he plays Quay here. For 32, and I get a really lucky draw from DV. I draw into Eductive for 72. So now I'm actually ahead for the first time in the game. Had a nice, healthy 46 points, and it's now David who's trying to come back. And after a while, David puts down this word that I knew right away was not going to stay on the board. I think he told me. What did he tell me his rack was? Um, I think he told me like I it was some rack, and it was sort of the right idea that I had in my mind that he was playing this, and if it got challenged off, there was a possibility that a play that I would make would give him an eight-letter word. But I don't actually remember exactly what he said his rack was. But yeah, Gore-Tex is definitely not a word. He might have been making it up from somewhere. And I did give him a hold for a little bit, um, because I wanted to see if he had given me a spot for anything. But I ended up just challenging. Whoops, that's not what I did. My bad. I said that I accepted. Don't worry, I did not accept. And that's the second phony, and that's pretty much game over, I think. I had Eurasian, and I saw that the G gives me organized, but no, not enough room. And I think I just determined that there was nothing. Let me see, Eurasian R. But like the only reason, reason I'm saying this is because I could accept this play. Yeah, Eurasian R doesn't work either. I could accept this play if it gave me a bingo, but it didn't. So Eurasian was my rack, and I wasn't quite sure what to do. I could play AI for 18. I could even play Aura for 21, but I decided just to go ahead and play Ox. I think I was really thinking of playing Ironed before he played Gore-Tex, but when he played Gore-Tex, I realized that Ironed was somewhat likely to give him a bingo. So I decided I would play Ox. I have partial knowledge of his rack, and maybe he would play something like GOR or GOT here and give me a spot to play a bingo. So that was my master plan. Instead, he drops his I um, for 13, but I still draw into a bingo, and it plays with weanlings. Have you forgotten about that? I hope not. I hadn't. Seminar comes down, and now this is game over, and I've successfully come back. David plays Cog, which gives me a really nice play of Bortz for 54, but oh, buys. That's pretty dumb. I didn't spot that I had this here. Um, it might still be better to play Bortz. Zineb obviously not. But yeah, buys is a lot of points. I think it might be okay to play Bortz because it blocks this lane here. And as you can see, there are two A's left and some worrisome stuff, to be honest. So it's possible that this play will sim well. Instead of buys. You can see opponent next turn after Bortz is just never bingoing. And I do have partial knowledge of his rack. I'm sure if I put in what do I still know he has? RET. Yeah, RET, and if he has just one A, he's very likely to bingo in this spot. So I think maybe this is fine. Yeah. And at this point, it's just like if he doesn't bingo, that's my goal is to make sure he doesn't bingo. Um, but but then David plays Jard here, 56, so just as well that he had a big play in this spot that I maybe should have blocked with buys or biz. And I have this rack, and I was trying to find the best end game here. And I saw that if I played into the D, um, I thought that if I played into the D, he was getting an outplay. Huh. Wait, why is this still better? I thought this gives him an outplay. Yeah, he has this outplay. So if I played Stiped was my first idea, but he's just gonna go out with Tuts. So I thought that there was something better to be done in the position But maybe if I calculated, because this is it's just a math problem, right? 36 minus 12 is 24, minus 4 is 20. So this is a value of 20. And you can see I did some math on the score sheet there. It's going to take a little bit because it's dark in my room. But yeah, right below the Canton, there's a little bit of math there. That's some endgame math. I thought that I shouldn't let him go out, so instead I played ties. But it says that ties is 4 points worse, and that's because he does have the play of lust for 22, which is just a lot of points to let him have. So actually, in the end, it was a 4 point blunder. Yeah, so just typed anyway because lust 15a scores too much. Because yeah, what I did was 12 minus 22, which is minus 8, and then plus 24, which is 16, 18. So 18 is obviously 4 less than 22, or 4 fewer. So this was a small endgame mistake. I didn't see the play of lust at all. I just assumed that he didn't have a big play anywhere on the board and that I should just block tuts. But that was pretty silly of me. Anyways, game's over, 504 to 389, no scoring mistakes. But yeah, it was kind of tough in the beginning of the game there, but I ended up getting routing and then drove and then inductive, and then I felt pretty good about the rest of the game. And yeah, slow start, but came back in the second half. So yeah, good game to David, and I'll see you guys in the next round. And just as everyone's keeping track, I am now 6-0 in this event, so things are going quite well for me. But we'll see what happens in the next game or next games. So see you guys then. Yeah, until next time.